The perfect match. I remember that night like it was stitched into my memory with sharp, black thread. My apartment was quiet, too quiet, the kind of quiet that presses against your eardrums until every creak of the building sounds like a scream waiting to happen. The hum of the refrigerator, the faint buzz of the streetlights outside my window, the endless stream of cars on the wet asphalt, it was all background noise to my scrolling thumb. I was 28, working a job that demanded little more than my presence and my patience. My cubicle was small, gray, suffocating in its ordinariness, and my life had become a series of identical weekdays punctuated by lonely nights. I hadn't dated in months, not because I didn't want to, but because people felt safer on screens than in the messy, unpredictable reality. And so I swiped. Then I saw her. Her profile was radiant in a way that made me pause. Sunlight catching strands of dark hair, eyes that seemed to look straight through the camera, a smile that felt like it could carve warmth into the coldest night. We started talking, first innocently, a few messages here and there. But soon, the words felt almost too familiar, like we'd known each other in some half-remembered dream. She laughed at my jokes before I even typed the punchline. She asked questions that I hadn't told anyone, not even my closest friends. And then it happened. I noticed it, a timestamp on one of her photos, subtle, easy to dismiss, but impossible if she were truly where she claimed. Her city, the one she swore she lived in, was hundreds of miles away from the one her picture was geotagged in. A shiver traveled up my spine. I told myself it was nothing. People lie online all the time. But deep down, a cold, clawing unease began to grow, curling around my chest like smoke. Something about her wasn't right. Something about this wasn't right. And still, I couldn't stop scrolling. I started texting her every morning before work and every night before sleep. What began as casual conversation turned into a daily ritual, like prayer. I'd wake to her good morning message before my alarm even rang. I'd fall asleep mid-conversation, her last words lingering like perfume in my dreams. I hadn't felt that kind of connection before. It was intoxicating, addictive. She seemed to know me better than I knew myself. My favorite movies, my childhood fears, even the way I tapped my fingers when I was nervous. When I asked how she knew, she'd say, "You told me once." I didn't remember doing that, but I laughed it off. Love, or whatever this was, has a way of blurring logic. Then she asked to video call. I remember feeling that mix of excitement and dread that comes before a first date. I straightened my shirt, checked my reflection, and answered. For a second, my screen froze. Then she appeared. Her face looked just like her photos, until it didn't. The lighting shifted strangely, almost like a bad connection, but the shadows on her face didn't follow the light in my room. They pulsed like something alive. Her smile glitched a fraction too wide before snapping back. I told myself it was the signal. Bad Wi-Fi. That's all. When I mentioned it later to my friends, they laughed. "Bro, you're being catfished," one said, half joking. Another advised me to block her. I didn't. Instead, I defended her. Angry, they couldn't see what I saw, how real it felt. But the cracks widened. The mutual friend she claimed introduced us had no online presence, no trace of ever existing. The photos she sent had inconsistent backgrounds, timestamps that jumped days apart, even when she swore they were taken hours ago. Then came the night everything changed. I was working late, the glow of my laptop the only light in the room. I looked up, and in the window's reflection, I swear I saw movement, a figure standing just outside, too still to be random. My heart hammered as I turned, but the street below was empty. My phone buzzed, a message from her. "I can see you too." The world went still. Every sound, every passing car, every creak in the floor sounded amplified. And for the first time, I wondered if I was talking to someone at all, or something. That night, the air felt heavier than usual, as if the whole apartment were holding its breath. I hadn't eaten, hadn't moved much. I just sat there, laptop open, cursor blinking, waiting for her next message. Every minute stretched. Every creak in the walls made my pulse jump. Then my screen lit up. Incoming video call. Her name. I hesitated before answering, but something deep in me, a mix of fear and obsession, made me click accept. Her face appeared, frozen mid-smile. The image flickered, stretched, and distorted until her features didn't fit together right. Her mouth lagged behind her words. Her eyes blinked out of sync, and behind her, something was moving. The background was dark, but I could swear I saw shadows crawling up the wall behind her. Slow, deliberate, like hands reaching for the light. Then everything stopped. The feed froze. Her face remained fixed, unblinking, perfectly still. But her mouth began to move again, without sound. I leaned closer. That's when my phone rang. I looked down. My heart dropped. She was calling me from my own number. The ringtone echoed through the room like a siren. The photo on the screen wasn't hers, it was mine. My own face staring back at me, smiling. I answered, because of course I did. Curiosity has always been humanity's oldest curse. A voice came through, low and distorted, overlapping like two recordings layered imperfectly. Why are you running? It whispered. I wasn't running. Not yet. You invited me in, it continued, with every message. Every word you typed was a door. I slammed my laptop shut, but the sound of static poured from it anyway. My phone buzzed again, messages flooding in, photos of me, sitting in my apartment, from outside the window. My breath quickened. The walls seemed to close in. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but another part of me, the same foolish part that first swiped right, needed to know the truth. I typed one final message. Who are you? The reply came instantly. I'm closer than you think. And then 3 words that turned my blood to ice. Turn around, love. I did. And what I saw staring back through the glass wore my face. I threw my laptop across the room, its screen shattering with a sharp crack that echoed off the walls. My phone hit the floor moments later. I ripped every cord from the wall, yanked the Wi-Fi router into the bathtub, anything to sever the connection. For a heartbeat, the apartment was quiet, real quiet. Relief washed over me like ice water. I could breathe again, maybe. But then, it started again. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, though the streetlight outside hadn't changed. A soft knock came at my door. Just one. Hesitant, deliberate. I froze, every nerve screaming to stay still. I crept to the peephole. Nothing. Empty hallway. My pulse rattled my ribs. I backed away, telling myself I imagined it, that it was stress, fear, paranoia. But my laptop, dead just moments ago, flickered to life. A single message blinked on the frozen screen. We're just getting started. Cold sweat ran down my neck. The room felt alive in a way it hadn't before, like the walls themselves were watching. My mind raced. Every photo she had sent me, the ones of us together in places I'd never been, suddenly made sense. Not her. Me. Everything was my own reflection twisted. Every laugh I thought was hers had been carefully mirrored, echoed to manipulate me. My friend's warnings came back sharp and clear. I hadn't just been tricked. I had been observed, studied, anticipated. I sank to the floor, heart hammering, mind frantically cataloging every interaction, every perfect message, every uncanny coincidence, every hour lost in conversation. It wasn't love. It wasn't connection. It was a trap. And the trap had extended far beyond the screen. Hours blurred. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I couldn't stop scanning the shadows, the reflections in the glass, the faint hum of electronics that should have been dead. My own apartment, once a sanctuary of solitude, felt like a cage, each wall closing in a little more. And somewhere, beyond the veil of the digital and the real, I knew the game wasn't over. Every device, every account, every small moment of my life was now a thread in a pattern I could barely begin to comprehend. I realized with a hollow dread that cutting the wires wasn't enough. Blocking the accounts didn't sever it. I had invited something in and now it wouldn't leave. Not ever. The room grew colder, and then a whisper, soft, almost affectionate, rippled through the air, brushing the back of my neck. I've missed you. I don't remember when dawn came. The city outside had turned a pale, sleepless gray, the kind that looks like the world is holding its breath. My reflection stared back at me from the window, eyes sunken, face hollow. I didn't recognize the person looking back. Not anymore. My phone stayed dark. My laptop lay in shards on the floor. And yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Every flicker of light, every shift of shadow felt intentional, like I was being studied by something patient, something that had already learned too much. I tried to tell myself it was over, that by cutting the connection, I'd taken back control. But then in the reflection, my own face moved a half-second slower than I did, just enough to make my blood run cold. That's when I realized, maybe this was never about her at all. Maybe she was just a mask. Maybe the thing on the other side of the screen, whatever it was, had always been there, watching, waiting for someone like me to reach back. In this world of endless scrolling and instant connection, I thought I was searching for love. What I really found was the mirror, staring back. And in that mirror, something darker than loneliness smiled. Since then, I don't go online much. I tell myself I'm safer offline, that the silence means freedom. But sometimes, the silence hums. My phone lights up for just a second, with no notification, no name, just a faint glow. And every time it does, I feel her watching again. Because here's the truth I've learned. In our hyper-connected world, trust is the new currency. And every time you spend it, something out there takes note. What you think is love might just be the calm before the storm. So I'll ask you this. How well do you really know the person on the other side of your screen? If this story sent a chill down your spine, help this channel grow by liking the video. It really helps more people discover it. Subscribe for more daily stories that make you question what's real and what's hiding behind the glow of your screen. Thanks for watching and listening. There's another story waiting for you right now, recommended on your screen. Go on. I'll see you back here tomorrow, if you make it back.